So real quick, going into there was just too much to do the last few weeks. I've had it for a couple weeks, but a little quick show and tell. I don't know. It just kind of came together that the weekend that Chappell Roan was going to be on Saturday Night Live, I ended up wandering into a record store here locally, and I've been wanting to add. I collect vinyl in a very, very specific fashion, and generally these days it has to be a colored vinyl. And so I've been wanting Chappell's now Grammy Award nominated countless Good Luck Babe is the track that got most of the attention, and then the album The Rise and Fall of the Midwest Princess. But I finally got the record, and what makes this one special, it is it's a super mass-produced version, so it's not like it has any rarity at this point, but it is the peach,
I like that.
Pink vinyl. So
peach. Nice.
Yeah.
So I will be putting that on the wall here soon enough.
I like it.
And
I'm with you. I'm a sucker for colored vinyl, any kind of like, unique design, clear vinyl. I got a bunch of that. Yeah, I got. It's
gotten to where if it's a colored vinyl, you've got my attention, and it's usually for decorative purposes. I listen a little bit, but not a whole lot. But so I'm happy to have that. Happy to have that. And then that weekend, she played Saturday Night Live, and it was almost like, just to speak of the performance real quick, you can find it on every social. They're all clipped and waiting there for you if you just want the performance to take you no time to see. They played Pink Pony Girl. She did, the band, to open the first, 2 songs on the show. And so that got me thinking, and I was right, and it's a pretty easy one if you've watched that show for any length of time, over 5 decades. If a band has been around for a little bit, they don't have a brand new album, and they play a single that's from early on, it probably means they're going to play a brand new song next. Right. Kind of priming you. Like, we're going to play one that everybody in the world's heard, because we're about to play one that not a single person's
Nobody's heard.
And that's exactly what she did. So they played that, and it sounded great. They had the full band out there. She's gotten a lot of, and for very reasonable reasons, she's gotten a lot of flack online for a lot of the piped in music and vocals in some of her massive festival shows. And I mean, like pop acts do, all of them do that. Right. So does she. And I was a little annoyed by that too. It's almost like they heard that and said, "Oh yeah, well, watch this." They had 5 backup singers, piano, the full band, drums, the whole deal. There wasn't a thing prepackaged on this, and it sounded amazing.
Good.
But the second song, the brand new one, guys, this is troubling. It is a country song. It is a pop country song, like it was designed in a Nashville lab in 10 minutes. It is the cheapest. I want to say weird. It's not weird because the machine's gotten a hold of her, and that's what's popular, and they want to focus in on that. It sounds like Shania Twain with a new 21st century spin on it and some queer lyrics that were written in 5 minutes. It was disappointing, and the machine is why she's doing this. I hope it's just a little one-off, a little test, and we don't have some kind of pop country album on the way written by Nashville, right? But I don't know. You can go take a listen for yourself.
It's interesting you say, because she's been, I mean, and we talk about it a little bit last week with Brad. I mean, she's a phenomenon. I mean, what has happened to her in the last year is such a, I don't know, case study. Is that the right? I mean,
could be, depending on which direction you're about to say next. But yeah, exactly. It's a case study of several different things.
Of something. She went from 0 to 4 million in no time, and then pissed everybody off by saying she wished her fans would leave her alone, basically. And
she's still 26-year-old, very, very, very young person.
Exactly, and you can't blame her. I mean, that would be hard. I don't care who you are. All of a sudden, people are in your face, in your business, and
right. And there's that sophomore album curse. It happens to a lot of artists that make a big splash with their debut album, and then they follow up with a second record, and it doesn't hit as high.
Well,
and
I told you my favorite story.
Work through that, and
my favorite, one of my favorite quotes, and I cannot remember who it was, but I was interviewing somebody, and I mentioned the sophomore jinx, and he's basically. Yeah, you have your whole life to write your first record, and then you spend 8 months in a bus, and all you see is a road and a window. And he's like, yeah, nobody cares that your limo driver's having a bad day. That's one of my favorite quotes ever. And I can't remember who said it, but that's the truth.
That's so good, and it's. I should have just even guessed something like that. I was listening to Noel Gallagher from Oasis talk about just retrospective stuff here recently on the heels of next year's big reunion. And he talks about how their first album, they were the same as the guys they were playing for. Like they were all the same people. They just happened to be on stage. And so the next album, which he didn't like, What's the Story, Morning Glory, Noel didn't like it. I loved it, but I was 15 when it came out. So just different perspectives. And he's like, the next album sucks. Yeah. It was so overproduced, and it was so rushed, and I mean he wasn't saying he hated his life. He was just talking about the music. He was happy to be a rich guy. Like he was like I was the richest guy in the room, and I was excited. Except for it was harder to write music. So yeah, that's.
And now you got a bunch of suits in the room saying we need to do this. You need to do what you did before, and
they're expecting the same level.
I mean,
my God,
we're going sideways, but yeah.
But I don't want to go just tiny bit more sideways. Is back to Chappell is that. A lot of those songs from that Midwest Princess album are 5 to 10 years old. You can see videos on TikTok, which my algorithm gives me all that I can take because I have become as much of a super fan of a pop act as I ever will. And those are old songs, and a lot of people don't like her because of the corporate nature that she became really, really quick because then songwriters got involved. Right. And Barry, you'll remember. I mean, for that whole album, that one I like so much. You'll probably remember this. I don't know how much you are into Aerosmith, but their career was falling off a cliff after the Dream On days and a little bit of that '70s stuff, and then into the '80s. Joe Perry and Steven Tyler sat around with the same people, like the parents of whoever works for Chappell right now, and they wrote all their songs for the next 10, 15 years. No one really realizes that.
Right.
Steven and Joe sat in the room, so they got songwriting credit, but the reason Pump and Love in an Elevator and Ragdoll became so huge because pop songwriters created those. So anyway, a lot of people don't like that. I think it's just part of the game, and I hope
it's 100% part of the game, and that's what makes it so hard, and that's why, again, what's happening to Chappell, that sounds over heavy-handed, but it's not unusual, and it again, it's kind of a case study. I mean, this is what happens, I mean, she blew up. I can't even imagine the pressure, the conversations and
that record is so good. I can't imagine they can make one as good, but we'll find out in the next year or two.